Within the world of assessing and training, there are a number of different risks and also hazards that we need to be aware of as a qualified assessor. As a qualified assessor, we are essentially a supporter, someone who is going to give the best advice to our learners. In this section, we're looking at the potential risks that can occur within your own assessing area, your field where you work. In the next section of the course, we're going to look at ways in which we can minimise those risks. In terms of health and safety, some of the typical hazards or risks to do with assessments could be not having enough PPE for yourself and the learner, not doing a risk assessment prior to an assessment as well. So there could be a potential hazard within the environment, and we of course need to check that prior to the assessment. And it could just simply be an unsafe working environment. Perhaps the resources are not deemed safe as well. So checks do need to be made prior to assessments to be safe. Furthermore, we have unrealistic targets or unnecessary stress on the learner. So this could be unrealistic expectations from the assessor, okay? We don't want to set our learners up to fail, okay? My advice is to keep assessment simple, okay? And only cover elements of the assessment that learners have prepared for and you know that they are capable of, okay? So don't set unrealistic targets, okay, because that can cause a lot of stress on the learner. Furthermore, time to complete the assessments, okay? You need enough time to complete the assessment. You don't want to be rushing learners, otherwise it's going to be quite a stressful occasion for them. And furthermore, proximity as well. You need to have enough proximity between yourself and the learner, okay? We want to, of course, observe their entire assessment, but you do need to just ensure that they are comfortable with obviously doing the assessment, and you can obviously observe at a suitable standing point. Other key factors could be the working pattern, the shifts of the learner. Okay, we don't want the learner to be tired, exhausted when they're doing the assessment. We have to be mindful that they're in the best frame of mind here. Other key factors could be under assessing, okay? So this is you potentially as an assessor not observing the entire assessment. You could be distracted by other colleagues, or even perhaps distracted by your mobile phone as well. And this is going to potentially under assess your learners as well, okay? Other factors could be not filling out a report properly, perhaps rushing, or even not signing forms, and also getting the learner to sign and date forms as well. So we have to ensure a secure paper trail of assessments, okay? Otherwise that can be very much found out in the IV process as well. So very important we do that. And also passing learners to meet statistics as well. So there could be pressures from managers, awarding bodies to pass learners, okay, but we want to ensure that they have achieved the full skills and criteria, of course. So we shouldn't feel pressured by outside factors to pass the learner for the sake of it. Other key factors, over assessment, okay? So once again, we need to be objective as an assessor and not subjective, okay? We shouldn't let our own thoughts and opinions impact on the assessment, okay? There's no need to ask questions to the learner to try and catch them out, okay? Or asking questions which aren't anything to do with the assessment itself, okay? Once again, it can cause lots of stress on the learner. And also, if you've seen an element of the assessment which has passed, and if you are going to ask the learners perhaps for them to redo that element of the assessment, once again, it's going to cause stress on the learner. Finally, we also have potential unfairness to the learner as well. Okay, so this could be not making it crystal clear that the learner has passed. Okay, so leaving the learner thinking, have I passed or have I not passed? And also perhaps, not letting the learner know the results straight away. If you as an assessor are perhaps not attending standardization meetings as well, that's a bit unfair to the learner because you aren't really sort of assessing in the most current fashion. And also not following up with your own instructions. If you say to a learner that you're going to perhaps type up an observation report and you don't do that, you leave it a week, that's a bit unfair on the learner too. So always follow on from what you say. Okay, so we've covered a number of different risks here. So we would like for you to summarize the potential risks that can happen at each section. And of course, do include any industry, your own examples, of course, from either your current or your future assessing role.